Hey there guys, DMO73 here, bringing you a feature match for the week. This is actually the top two finals from the Indiana ARG State Championships, which I actually just won this past weekend. So I wanted to get that recorded, and I thought that'd be cool for you to kind of see. So Josh Cowell is playing a very interesting Alice in Wonderland Knights list. And I was playing a version of Green Valentina that I call Val's World. That's because my sideboard has the ability to sideboard into an absolute, really powerful Reflect Refrain Alice World list and kind of bait out some stuff from my opponent. So right off the top, Josh grabs manages it that Death Scythe and Lave, which he has been doing all tournament long, and then passes to me. So unfortunately I missed my one drop as well because it's the green-white stone, but I do go ahead and drop a Lave and Bow. I know he doesn't run any Regalia hate because of the fact that I played him actually earlier in Swiss. He was my only loss in Swiss. So I know that the Bow is good for right now. He plays that Lancelot and swings in, and I take the damage. So I'm down to 34. I play that Rewriting Laws. This lets me, all my stones will tap for any color this turn. I need to make a big, kind of comeback turn here. So now I don't have to worry about my colors being wonky with my stones. So I regret I'll play the Cheshire Cat, go into an Adamberly, shuffle that bad card back into the deck. Now I have a pretty strong defense against that Lancelot from taking a future hit. Do the draw from Adamberly because I sacked a blue Cheshire Cat, and I go ahead and generate blue with the Adamberly to play another Cheshire Cat. So now I've got a little bit of a wall. I've got that Bow in place, feeling okay. He taps his Regalia before he flips over. Starts by attacking with the Lancelot, and I go ahead and I think about blocking with the Adamberly, but because he's got the stones up, I go ahead and block with Cheshire Cat. So he's thinking about flipping. When he goes to grab it, I'm about to ask for Oracle text on something, but he goes ahead and hands me the J ruler for me to be able to clarify. I wanted to try to know exactly what it said in regards to the red burn effect, how much damage it was, if it was up to or a mandatory of one trigger or something like that. Because I could have potentially, sacked my own Levatine and sacked my own Adamberly and forced him to burn his Lancelot or something like that. He goes ahead and taps for stone anyway. He didn't have to show me the back of the card. I could have just waited for Oracle text from the judge, but he decided to let me do that. So I play another Rewriting Laws here. Well, I'm thinking about it. Play another Rewriting Laws here, which again will let me draw a card and untap 2 stones. So now again for the turn, all of my stones can produce any color. Just have blue Cheshire Cat, draw a couple cards. Green for a Familiar Holy Wind. In response to the trigger, he actually uses a Thunder from his hand to kill it. He knows that I have the Adamberly. At this point, he's probably sensing that I have the Adamberly, and so he doesn't want to worry about that. And then in just response, I just sack off to Lave. Not that it really matters. Reminds me that I needed to draw a card from Familiar, which is awesome and helpful. Play another Cheshire Cat. And draw 2 more. Luckily I draw to that Familiar of Holy Wind. And then at this point I go ahead and tap for a stone because my line of play to try to flip this turn was unfortunately derailed. by that Thunder, but I'm able to play another Familiar. Now the whole time here, he's got that, you see he has a Sight of the Future in his hand, but he's not making use of it. Like, there was a moment where he could have made use of it to get rid of my Adombrally and my Familiar, set me in a place where I just have a couple Cheshire Cats. I think the reason why he's not is he's trying to maybe conserve it for, you know, setting up a better play against like Sacred Beasts, or to let his Alice get in the damage, you know, remove a blocker, something like that. So draw for Adombrally. Decide to produce blue and play even another Cheshire Cat. So I think the other thing why he didn't flip is too, he has that Flames of Outerworld in his hand and he wants to try to get to a point where he can use it. With the Cheshire Cat, I'm able to draw into his Scythe, so that puts me at 3 of my 4 Regalia, and then I go to attack into his Lancelot. So he could Sight to the Future here and just get rid of both my Adombralys. I don't really know why he doesn't, but he instead decides to trade Lancelot for Adombrally by pumping up Lancelot twice. So he draws into another Thunder, taps his Regalia a couple times. So he's got a Levitine, a Sight of the Future, Flames of the Outer World, and a Thunder. Taps for that stone, gets the Ruler's Memoria, so now he's got access to a couple things. I'm trying to look at what my options are in terms of getting rid of his hand, or if I'm going to flip, or something like that. So I've tapped both my Regalia once, which means that if I did flip, at this point, I would be outside of Flames range. However, I wouldn't be outside of Flames Thunder range, which is a problem. But I just saw him burn a Thunder, so I'm not really thinking about that. I swing in for 6. He takes the damage. Tap again. And then I discard the Lave that's in my hand to produce red, pay a blue, pay a green, and do Judgment. Ask if he has a response to the Judgment, thinks about it. Said he does not. He also does not have a response to the trigger. So this could have been the fact that we were playing for a very long time, but right there he actually could have punished me really bad. He could have played Thunder, and then also played the Flames of Outerworld, which would have done 1300 damage. 1300 damage, and she was only an 11/11 because of the 2 Death Scythe taps. So she actually would have been killed by both of those. And I think he just realizes it right there. I can't attack that turn, but now she's a 18/18. And so so there's no way that's gonna kill her. And then before his draw step, so like before the draw of his draw step, I double tap Levitine. So now I'm in a position of okay, so I need to talk about this. So we again, long day. We don't really resolve this properly, and I don't necessarily know how much Josh has played against Rezard. He does this where he discards Levitine to Thunder me to the face, and I say that's okay. As soon as he said that Rezard's as soon as he let me start moving cards from my graveyard out of my graveyard and start discarding cards, he has no ability to be able to play cards at that point, because Rezard Skazard is already resolving, and so all those cards are just going to go away, because the banishing from graveyard is not part of the cost, it's part of the effect. Again, long day, things happen, and it really didn't have an impact overall, but that's just something for you guys watching to remember, and that once Rezard starts resolving, once those cards get removed from the graveyard, your opponent can't activate anything. They have to decide to do that before they flip, before they activate. So he flips over his Alice to gain 1,000 life, and to draw a card, draws into that Guinevere. Going into my turn, I'm able to draw, and I have, well, I think what he forgets here is that I have target attack. So I'm going to go ahead and try to kill Alice. What you see me doing there is also really bad etiquette. Don't do that. It's not like I can, I mean, I'm clearly not looking at my deck, but even clearly can't see anything. I'm looking right at him the whole time, but just don't do what I'm doing. I'm nervous in the moment, and yeah, it's not good form. Anyway, I kill the Alice because he doesn't try into anything with the Guinevere, and then he just accepts defeat for that match if we go into game 2. So even though he had a lot of life left, he was only going to be drawing into an Arthur, or he only had the Arthur, which he would have had to tap for Stone Form, played all 5. Valentina has an easy way to get around that. I could just steal it, which would suck for him, and he's lost access to that Alice, so he really doesn't have anything else that he can do. Now, going into, we had sideboarded here, and I knew he was going to side into the Blazer. I knew for a fact he was going to side into Blazer. But I also knew that I felt like I had a better advantage if I just played a little slower against his Blazer from our games in final round of Swiss. So I'm okay with him flipping that Blazer. Typically I would side, if I felt a Blazer play, I would side into the Alice world, but that just didn't happen this time. So he plays a Guinevere first turn, doesn't see the Scythe, and I'm able to play a Elvish Priest, which I'm pretty sure is going to stick. So is it 2 red? Plays the Lancelot and swings in. I accept the damage. I'm usually okay taking 2 to 3 Lancelot hits before I really start wanting to act. So I'm not going to jeopardize my, combo for anything like that. So I actually just tap for a stone and pass the turn. Sees that 3rd redstone, still has not seen a Scythe. That Percy in his hand is now just sitting there. I know for a fact that Josh is trying to get a Scythe here, because if I can get a flip off and a secured Valentina, or not having to worry about getting her killed, I just win this game. Plays that 2nd Lancelot, and actually decides just to pass the turn. So I finally see that green-blue. I had that rewriting laws in my hand just in case I needed it. But it's not a huge worry for me. And Josh is currently tapped out. So I draw into a Cheshire Cat off of the Familiar, which is really lucky. So we better get that Adomberly out on the board. And this is a very hard position for Josh to be in, and the fact of Domberly is a really natural counter to Lancelot, especially since he's playing Blazer and not Reflect, and the fact that he really doesn't have an effective way to pump up Lancelot. So a Domberly can kill Lancelot while still surviving, can survive in the trade, in a sense. So before the upkeep, he uses the Guinevere to send away the Rook Egg, searches for a little Dread, he's trying to mainly, the search isn't what's important to him right now. He's really trying to find that Death Scythe, because he knows that now I'm in a position, I've got 6 will, I'm very comfortable flipping at this point, even if he's got the Blazer. So he draws into a Flames of Outerworld, he discards, which doesn't really, because he's already got one in hand, and he's not really getting will that he wants. Has the Lance, gets the Ruler's Memoria, so now he has access to some stuff. He has access to that Flames. He has access to the Percy. He's got to make the decision here. Does he just try to get aggressive, or does he try to dig for that Death Scythe? He decides to go try to get the Death Scythe with the Percy. He reveals Lancelot, Rook Egg, Lancelot, Guinevere, Flame King Shout, so he misses it again. So he grabs another Lancelot. Plays another Rook Egg. His one last shot here, sacrifices the Rook Egg to Guinevere. Grabs another Rook Egg. Is doing some deck thinning. Draws 1, draws 2, still does not see the Death Scythe here. So he goes ahead and discards another, a Rook Egg that he actually drew into. Goes and plays the third Lancelot, and then passes the turn. So now he's in a bad spot. He's tapped out. I'm able to search for the Levitine, so now I have Swiftness. He's tapped out, which means I don't have to worry about any kind of, Flames of Outerworld play. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So I draw into turn because I searched at the end of his turn. Forgot to tap Scythe there at the beginning, which is important. See that second Scythe come out. I'm trying to do some math here in my head. Play Lave. I mean, this is obviously the pivotal moment to flip, unless he's been, bluffing a Death Scythe the whole time, but at this point, I feel comfortable with my ability to take a Death Scythe out of his hand with Rezard, so I'm not terribly worried. So even if he did top deck into 1, there's no way that he's going to kill my Valentina permanently, since Death Scythe isn't already on board. So I flip over, he's got no responsiveness because he's got nothing to trigger with. I had shuffled my sideboard into my main board when I was doing all my siding and stuff. That's how I side. So, lost a little track. I'm like, oh, where's Melgus? Look in my box one more time. And Melgus was hiding in the box. So all 7, Valentina's a 14/14, got all those God's Arts. So now I'm thinking here, because gotta figure out how to try to get, if there's any way for me to try to get full lethal here. So playing writing laws, which means I have access to everything that way. I'm trying to do the math in terms of what way I could possibly get to lethal with just this one swing, so Blazer doesn't even get a chance to flip. Like sacking things off to Levitine, what Godsart to use, because I have access to Malgus, just all kinds of options. Now, if you didn't have the Levitine at this point, I definitely would be able to do the lethal run damage, because I could, in response to his blocks, I could do like Prisya, stack everything off and stuff like that, or at least pretty close to. But I go ahead and just play it safe, and I swing in for 1400 damage, because I know that it'd be pushing my pressure a lot to try to get to that full 4000, and I know for a fact that I'm not going to lose Valentina next turn, so it's not a big deal. So he goes to block with the Percival. I tap a Death Scythe so that I'll actually steal the Percival when I kill it. And then Percival Effects actually triggers. So you get that Levitine. Because what happens is when you have Death Scythe and your ruler is Rezard, and you kill something and it goes to the graveyard, then you get to put it into your, after it hits graveyard, it comes back to your field. So this technically triggers Percy's Enter effect, because it dies and then comes back. So swing in with the Domberly. Spades for a minute and then decides to take the damage, putting him down to 34. Attempt to swing in with the feasting at this point, really just to try to tack in some extra damage, because I know for a fact that all of my creatures and his creatures and everything are just getting destroyed next turn, because I'm going to Rezard him. And that's my answer to him possibly drawing into a Death Scythe. If I just eliminate his whole hand after he's drawn, then Blazer can only temporarily kill me. So before the draw, I tap 2 Levitines. This reduces my Godsart cost. And then I wait for him to draw. And then in the last sequence before the recovery, so I have to do a weird combination of Levitine triggers here before anything recovers. And then you actually see me like tracking the die, but it really doesn't matter because I can't do any damage this turn. He's just going to Blazer pop me. Essentially what I have to do here is I have to sack off all these creatures to get enough creatures in my grave for Rezard's Godsart to do anything. And so you see me sack up the Cheshire Cat, and then before the Cheshire Cat shuffle trigger resolves, I'm going to do Rezard. So this will allow me to exile Cheshire Cat because it hasn't technically shuffled yet. So Josh is going to flip. In response, after he removes all my abilities, I'm going to give her Imperishable again. And then he's just going to pass the turn because he's got no cards in hand. So I tap the Scythe before we get going. Lay out my stones. He actually just extends the handshake there because he knows that he can't give his Blazer Imperishable, and that my Valentina is just going to be able to finish the game off. So there you have it, guys. That is the match. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment sections down below. I have the interview and deck profile from Josh up this Saturday. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, this is DMO73 signing off.